Welcome to Off-Grid News, the news that's not fit to print. House Democrats passed through Islamophobia bill. The bill instructs Secretary of State to create an office to monitor and combat Islamophobia, to be led by a presidentially appointed special envoy for monitoring and combating Islamophobia. No word on what constitutes Islamophobia, leaving some to wonder if they mean all white people. Congressman Adam Schiff played dirty tricks on Mark Meadows' text message before others saw them. Schiff was up to his old tricks at Monday night's hearing. He claimed to have proof that Congressman Jim Jordan texted the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, to inform VP Mike Pence to overturn the 2020 election. However, it turns out that Schiff changed the text when copied into official documents. As Biden was touring damaged to Kentucky, a reporter asked, "On the 800,000 deaths from the virus, do you have a statement on your responsibility and why you haven't asked China to do more to be transparent on its origins?" In response, Biden gave a dismissive wave of his hands and a "do you believe this guy?" Supporters of Biden said they should be asking Trump this question, given he is no longer the president. Supreme Court denies bid to prevent enforcement of New York's vaccine mandate for healthcare workers. Outraged opponents of this decision said, "I'd rather die from the virus than be treated by someone who is unvaccinated and might give me the virus." Kyle Rittenhouse, who was acquitted on all charges, has been banned from gaming giant Electronic Arts for using his real name. The gaming company has declared the name Kyle Rittenhouse violates corporate policy. CNN worries about Biden's age and popularity and drops names of 11 candidates to replace him because, as we know, CNN is the most trusted source in news and should be the sole source of deciding who should run the United States. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis proposed legislation that would allow parents to sue education providers who teach critical race theory. Opponents of the proposed legislation, mostly white people, said, "How do we run white people out of Florida if we can't teach CRT?" Louisiana governor confirmed he is moving forward with adding virus vaccines to the list of school immunization, despite the state Health and Welfare Committee voting to reject it. Opponents thank the governor for giving them a good reason to homeschool. CDC data shows 79% of Omicron patients were fully vaccinated. 32% had the booster. Many said the only reason 79% of the vaccinated got Omicron was because 21% were not vaccinated. In other news, math is no longer being taught in schools. Kroger Stores is ending virus sick leave benefits for the unvaccinated workers. Spokesperson said, "It's just costing us too much to treat vaccinated virus patients, so we're penalizing the unvaccinated." Jefferson County, Alabama asked the public for help after a convicted kidnapper is released from prison 16 years too early. In other news, schools are no longer teaching math. White House latest attempt to end Remain in Mexico policy was blocked by the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Texas and Missouri sued the administration over their efforts to end the policy. In other news, Off-Grid News is stationed in Missouri. 2 dead, 41 hospitalized in Hillsborough, Florida, from the poisonous batch of spice, a synthetic cannabinoid, also known as K2. Poison control authorities said it's likely a batch of spice is laced with another chemical that is causing uncontrollable bleeding when they are cut in nose and gums, or when going to the bathroom. Symptoms of the severe bleeding are similar to earlier outbreaks that were tracked to a rat poison sprayed on the drug. White House released formally classified documents that could shed light on President Kennedy's assassination. About 1,500 pages have been released, but that still leaves 10,000 more pages that have been either withheld completely or partially redacted. When asked why so many pages have been withheld, they said, "We want to make it completely obvious that the government lies to the American people about everything." These documents support the former conspiracy theory that Lee Harvey Oswald was in close contact with the former Soviet Union in weeks before the assassination of JFK, despite the Warren Commission's investigation stating he acted alone. Pandemic's lockdown fueled massive rise in gaming addiction. Revenue in gaming companies skyrocketed, with the Call of Duty rising by 72%. Senate passes legislation to prevent dishonorable discharge for unvaccinated service members, but does not protect them from being discharged. Anti-military groups said it's ridiculous that these people don't want to protect this country. A federal appeals court overturned a nationwide ban on vaccine mandates. 17 million people in 26 states will have to be vaccinated in the healthcare industry. The ruling from the 3-judge panel in the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Supporters said that they don't want the healthcare workers giving them the virus when they're already being treated for the virus after they have been vaccinated for the virus. Texas governor tells defense secretary vaccine mandates won't be enforced on National Guards in Texas. Defense secretary has threatened to cut off funding for National Guard members who don't get vaccinated. In response, Texas said, "Don't mess with Texas." FDA now allows an abortion pill to be sent by mail, removing in-person dispensing requirements. Criminals who sent anthrax in the mail in the early 2000s are very upset, stating, "It's not fair. Sending letters in the 2000s to kill people was illegal, but now the government is approving the practice." Multiple airline CEOs come out against mask mandates on airplanes, stating masks don't add any protection in the air cabin environment. Supporters of the mask mandate said the masks have to be worn so I can mouth "F you" without people seeing it. CNN reported this week that Biden poll numbers are bleak, beyond bleak. CNN told Biden, "You have to give us something to help you." Biden replied, "Come on, man." CNN is still trying to figure out how to spin that. Former FBI lawyer who fabricated evidence in the Trump-Russia probe restored to good standing by the D.C. Bar Association. Kevin Kleinsmith was restored despite being a convicted felon who has not finished probation. When asked, the Michigan Bar said, "What do you expect? Kevin's a crooked lawyer. Who cares? It's not like he's some 17-year-old kid trying to defend himself from a mob of people." Reporter Wid Lyman recently traveled to Acuna, I may be saying that wrong, Mexico, where he discovered United Nations pamphlets instructing migrants how to cross the U.S. border. When asked, the UN started singing John Lennon's song, Imagine. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. The House January 6th committee is being sued by a media photographer, Amy Harris. The House subpoenaed her telephone records from Verizon. Harris sued, arguing the House violated her First Amendment right, freedom of the press. The House wanted the phone records because Harris contacted the Proud Boys leader to arrange for Harris to take photos of the group during a rally. Supporters of the subpoena say the only news organizations that is allowed to use the First Amendment are CNN, MSNBC, and the government-owned NPR. 27 business groups filed appeal taking vaccine mandates fight to the Supreme Court. The businesses have filed an appeal to stop the White House mandates on businesses with over 100 employees. In response, Biden said, "Just let me win one thing that Americans will hate," forgetting all the other things they already hate. Cases of heart inflammation reported among kids 5 through 11 who received the Pfizer vaccine, said the CDC on December 16th. Pharmaceutical company CEO said, "No problem, we can develop a drug to fix that." California pig law that requires more growing space for pigs prompts meat producers to halt pork sales. The second largest pig producer and the fourth largest pig processor confirmed the decision to stop selling pork to California after California voters approved legislation that required producers to give pigs more living space. This will raise prices nationwide. In a rare statement, Superman said he regrets his decision to save California from Lex Luthor's plan to make Arizona oceanfront property. For the first time, the U.S. government compensation program will pay out one of the 4,751 claims alleging injuries or death arising from the administration of covered countermeasures used to diagnose, treat, or prevent the virus. Government officials said it just didn't seem right to wait 75 years to pay out like we are doing with the FDA approval information. Former Obama ethics chief Walter Schaub torched Nancy Pelosi after she defended lawmakers to own stocks after it was found that 52 congressmen and 182 senior staffers violated the Stock Act, which polices Congresses and their spouses' stock trading. When asked, Pelosi said, "We live in a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that. What is good for thee does not apply to me." On Thursday, the president promised death and disease this winter for the unvaccinated, while addressing the nation on Tuesday about the Omicron variant, despite a recent study reported by Reuters that vaccines has little or no effect on the Omicron vaccine. Supporters of the vaccine said, "Facts don't matter when you're trying to make billions of dollars for the very rich pharmaceutical companies. There is a real opportunity to make lots of money since companies can't be sued, and the government is covering all liabilities to those harmed by the vaccine." Santa won't be able to deliver gifts this Christmas. During a protest in Germany over lockdowns, he was arrested. Turns out that even Santa isn't immune from the zero tolerance of opposition to government restrictions. Santa promised to give himself a lump of coal for being naughty. The Daily Wire reported that the White House hung up on U.S. Senator when he called seeking assistance for someone being tortured by communist authorities in Cuba. One supporter of the White House staffer's action said, "Finally, we have an administration that understands that if someone's misbehaving, they need to be a good whipping." Want to sell things around the house or have a yard sale? There's a tax for that. If you receive $600 or more a year in total payments through apps such as Venmo, Cash Apps, Zelle, or PayPal, after January 1st, 2022, these companies will be sending you Form 1099-K for transactions made. Many have used these apps to send their kids Christmas money gifts, selling old stuff around the house, etc. Proponents of this tax said, "It's about time the poor paid their fair share. Why is it always the rich have to pay more?" And so that's your news that's not fit to print. Please click subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching.